It's a pleasure to introduce our next speaker, who unfortunately might have to cut her presentation short. It's Jess Gosling, an award-winning entrepreneur, public speaker, a champion in diversity, equality, and inclusion. And Jess has received numerous awards, and only in the past year, she was named 27th in the top 100 Women Future Leaders 2020, Yahoo Finance and Involve, and been shortlisted for Global Public Service Team of the Year 2020. Please welcome warmly Jess. And her topic is the importance of branding and top tips on creating a brand. And of course, this subject's been covered from different sides this morning. Please, Jess, warmly welcome to
Hi, Olga. How is everything? I hope the conference has been going well. I can stay on a little bit later, so don't worry. And also big thanks to Alex for all of her
fantastic, because we were very worried.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it at all. So my presentation, I can't really top that introduction. Feeling very humbled right now. Is all about brand authenticity and authority. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this subject in particular is that that is something a lot of people struggle with, whether it's personal branding or for your business or your digital persona, whatever it might be. And yeah, I'm just going to take some time to talk about it. And then if anyone has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and I can answer them maybe offline. So in today's digital world, where the internet is overflowing with information, choices, and intense competition, what really makes the brand stand out? Is it the excellent service or product, or a person's kind of, way of speaking, or is it the visibility that comes with it? For me, I'd say it's the brand authenticity, and I say this both as a brand, is it a company or something, or a product, and in the personal branding context. Having a quality product, if you're selling, or a service, no doubt is essential for a brand. But in today's world, it's really not enough. The modern customer, as we all know in this conference, because that's why you're here, is really very much research orientated. They know what they want. They're very comfortable with technology. So ultimately, in today's world, a customer or your prospective audience can observe you, even when the spotlight is necessarily off you. Like when you're not presenting some new content or ideas, they can still search you, Google, for example. And in my experience from working in over 7.5 years abroad, doing 10 different kind of industries and lots of other things, what I have learned is that people really crave genuine, credible, and trustworthy experiences. That's what they live for. The more personable, the more authentic experience you can give as a service or as a person or as a business in this hyper-connected virtual world, the better. But how can you build that sort of authentic brand experience? And why is it important for winning either customers or growing your kind of network? An authentic brand online is one that decides to be, one, transparent, and two, consistent on its messaging and brand initiatives. And I would say that that aligns with a lot of what was happening, what was discussed in the panel just before, which is brilliant, by the way, around gender diversity, gender equality, and aligning with your values and your mission. Speaking about what you stand for and what you align with will make other people who are within that network, or perhaps people that you haven't engaged with yet, but you would like to kind of come your way, you speak about the values that you have and what you kind of align to and what you do within your work and how it's so vital around those specific causes. For example, in my case, mine is definitely around neurodiversity. I'm neurodiverse by 3. Gender equality is something that I do a lot of, as you've seen in the introduction. And those things are core parts of my brand. And I say this is a personal brand. And it's also about one of the platforms that I started earlier this year called Gosling & Co, which seeks to challenge the narratives around unconscious bias for women and underrepresented groups. my values and the kind of the work that I do, those causes that I care about, they don't stop. They're with me everywhere I go. They're with me on everything I touch. They came into this conversation, for example. So, you know, one of the things that I think is really important with business or building your personal brand is that values remain true to. You need to be, you know, aligned with your values. And most essentially, being genuine and honest has so much power. But what happens when, if we flip it on its head, what happens when customers don't trust the brand, or people don't trust your personal brand, or they don't think something's authentic? What happens is they look elsewhere. They look for brands or they look for brands or people or things that they think that they can put their trust in. And you know, brand authority, authenticity has never been more relevant, I would argue. According to some recent data, some 90% of customers mentioned authenticity as an important factor in deciding what brands they like and support. And that's data based on products and services, but I think that speaks volumes for other brands, i.e. having a personal brand. There's also an argument around kind of what generation you're targeted to. So millennials like myself and Gen Z are approximately, there's approximately 139 million people within that demographic in the US at least. And if you think of it in terms of the greater, the US is a really good example, because if you look at the kind of general demographic and the opportunity of marketing to, say, a younger generation who is more digitally savvy than ever, you know, Instagram, TikTok, you name it, they're engaged, they sell, they buy, they socialize, some even educate themselves online, you know. The ones that are real and organic, not necessarily perfect and well packaged, are the ones that are succeeding. And it's more than ever before, the values of an organization and what values that they align to are the selling points. So ultimately, brands cannot afford to ignore the demands of, you know, the younger generation if you are selling a product or a service. And the other thing that I wanted to kind of highlight is a lot of people overthink what brand authenticity is. And if you have brand authenticity, by default, you then have brand authority. It's not a fancy term. A lot of people overthink it. It's about being honest. Yes, it is a marketing trend, but it's not going anywhere soon. It's going to be here forever, I would argue. So one of the things that I would say to build your brand authority and your authenticity is to be consistent. Brand consistency in practicing in terms of conveying your messages, which are in sync with your identity and the values of your brand. And you can do this with like blog post, emailers, creating a random ebook never hurt, did some sort of digital engagement. Because the thing is the result of inconsistent messaging, you can, if your messaging is unclear, then it opens the door of difficult interpretations. So therefore, consistency is a crucial factor building an authentic brand. The other thing I would argue, the second point, is being real. Being real means deciding your business or your service or your personal brand's purpose and what matters to it, as well as making sure it really resonates with everything that you do. But the reality is that everyone cares about purpose, both your potential customers or network. You know, anyone potentially, if you have people that work for you, they all care. So having a very a clear, you know, who are you? Who do you serve? What problem are you trying to solve? Can be vital. So ultimately, in conclusion, building a brand's authenticity is about discovering what your brand stands for. And it's not an event. It's not a one-time thing. It's a gradual process that can take, you know, you can start the process and it may take a couple of months to iron out. But that's totally fine. It's a trial and everything. You're not going to get it 100%. But the one thing I would always say is you can start working towards an authentic brand by asking yourself if it is faithful to your why and your values. And that's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Really a pleasure to welcome you to Creative Women Platform. We very much hope to stay in touch with you and be working.
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of the panel sessions. Very excited.
Fantastic.